Hello, I'm back again, up at the allotment. It's the middle of May and I've got a confession to make. I'm pretty sure that those of you who follow the Jane's Allotment page on Facebook will know what's coming. But for those of you who don't, I'll fill you in. Yesterday, I fully intended to come up and film at the allotment, but it's the middle of May. There's so much to do. There's so much still preparation work, still sowing. It takes half an hour to blooming well take all the trays in and out of the greenhouse to get the stuff hardening off. So anyway, I thought yesterday I would put on a poll asking people to just let me know what they'd rather I filmed, you know, because someone actually said just put the camera on and press go, and I thought, my goodness, my video's too long anyway. Can you imagine? Nice idea, but I think there'd be a lot of speeding up. Anyway, so the options, there were several options on there, including one that said just stop making videos, which I put on. That's a bit of a way out, but fortunately nobody clicked that one yet. But anyway, I've got to say the option that won, and I'm going to be completely honest here, hands down, was May Tour. So basically have a complete look at the plot. I'm looking at it now for you for the month of May. The one that came second, and the one I was hoping would win, was planting in and around the Polytunnel. Now that only got half the amount of votes, but it was a very clear second. Now, 3 o'clock this morning, I was lying in bed, tossing and turning, thinking, but I need to do this week, I need to do that this week. You know what's coming, don't you? Basically, I think next week will be a much better time to do a May tour because there's going to be that much going on and going in this week. I'd like to catch you all up with that next week. So today I'm going to do the Polytunnel. So there we are. I've completely gone against what I said I was going to do. I said I'd go with whatever got the most votes, but I am going to do both of them, but I'm going to do the Polytunnel one first because that makes sense. So today we're just going to have a little look at how it's changed since last week because it started to fill up, and I'm going to show you what else I'm going to plant. I'll show you what I've planted so far, what I'm going to sow in there, and how I'm going to pretty up the outside. So yeah, sorry about that. Tune in next week if you wanted the May tour. Right, come on, let's have a little look. Another excuse, and I'm full of them, for not doing the tour today is it's actually a little bit windy, and nobody wants to hear wind noise all the time on an outdoor tour, so it's far better off to be tucked up inside. My excuse. Okay, let me just show you what's going on outside so far. I've brought some plants up that need to go in these patches. We've got this funny shape to the right hand side of the door because this is part of the circle that goes around the apple tree in the centre. So that leaves us with this very strange wedge shape on this side of the path. Now I have a little path, a bit wobbly, that's okay. But on this side we've got a square, basically a square. It's absolutely rock hard, but I am going to do something with them. I do want to pretty them up and plant some stuff in, but I'll show you that in a minute. I'll show you how we're getting around the rock hard thing as well. So first of all, let's take a little look inside. Okay, of course we haven't put the ground spike in, who knows when that'll go in, so we're using a brick. Hey, good old-fashioned ways. Okay, you're off the tripod now. You're being entrusted into my wibbly-wobbly hands, but hey, would you look at this little tunnel? Okay. That's that door banging against the brick now. We hummed and hawed about what to put down in the middle regarding a path. We were just going to leave it blank, to be honest, but I really wanted to have something down each side to delineate the beds. Is that a word? No, it's a word. I don't know if I'm using it in the right way. To see where the edge of the beds comes up. So we're saying this isn't going to be permanent, but knowing us, it probably will be. We just get used to things being where they are. But look, we've got in tomatoes, lettuce, peppers. I am going to swing you around, so I'm warning you. We've got in exactly the same on the other side, and at the end we got one of those very, very, very cheap arches that usually falls to pieces outside, but I think inside should do us for a few years. And we've popped that on the inside of the door. Of course it had to have a little wind chime on. And round that we are going to put, well, on this side we've got a melon. Don't know if you can see that from there. And on this side, so far I've put a cucumber, but I think I'm going to move that down to the greenhouse. And I've actually got the swan gourd seeds, gourd, I never know how to say it properly, gourd I think, off Brian Brown over in New Jersey. They survived the crossing over the Atlantic, and they've gone in, well, they've gone in a pot, they're in the greenhouse at the minute, they're coming up really strong. So round that arch, you're probably not going to be able to, well, hopefully you won't be able to walk through it without getting concussion from a gourd or a melon. I just want to show you the way I've put my tomatoes in and the different ways that I'm going to be using to support them. On the back row, very, very straightforward row of canes that they'll be tied into. Really important, especially in a polytunnel, get the tops of your canes covered. Whatever you can use, find it, stick it on. I used a whole load of those plastic play balls one year, but these are great. These are actual, well, they're used for making flexi frames or something, but they're great for the purpose of this. So yeah, so all the tomatoes will get tied into there as they're growing up. And in front of them, let's see if you can see this. Yeah, just about. Can you see that? I've got a double cane that I've put across the crop bars, and along those I have put in strings. And the strings, they look very loose at the moment, but they go all the way down to the tomatoes at the bottom. I don't know if you can see them. Let me take you off and I'll show you properly. Okay, so there's the double cane that's been duct taped together and placed across the crop bars. And then you can see hanging down from there toward each tomato, I've got a piece of this horrible, horrible plastic twine, which I don't like and I've talked about before, but it is strong, and tomatoes in full fruit are actually quite heavy. So I've got that all the way down there, looks a bit loose at the minute, and then I've tied a knot in the end, tied a loop in the end and buried it below the tomato itself. So as the tomato starts to grow, the roots will anchor the loop and I'll be able to basically just twist it round as it goes up. That's the theory anyway, and that's why I've used this this string. It's really, really tough, and hopefully at the end it's going to be quite easy to dispose of, because I'll just be able to slide it out from the tomato, not like when you use it for peas and things like that, which just creates a terrible mess. So yeah, so there's the two ways. There's the traditional pole method and the strings. Not sure it'll make any difference to them, as long as it keeps them up, that'll be good. Oh, that's the most tricky bit done, getting down. Oh no, the most tricky bit will be getting up again. Oh heavens, what's that? Oh my goodness. Right, okay. Probably looking a bit pink now. I can't take my jumper off straight away because I've got all my mic attached. But I think at the moment, I don't know, the thermometer's up there. It's about 90 odd in here with the door open. It got up to, I think it was about 104, just topped 104 last week. But the nighttime temperature in here, we didn't quite reach -1. It was something like minus 0.07 or something like that. But things survived. So hopefully now that's our frost gone for the year. Hooray! Fingers crossed, legs crossed, eyes crossed. And especially in a polytunnel or in a greenhouse, we can feel quite safe about putting things in. So this was the potato patch last year. If you remember, we had our 4 raised beds, the rotational beds, and this bit had the potatoes in. So, as will always happen when you've planted potatoes once, you'll get potatoes coming up year after year, like this one here. But look, I Could leave them in if I wanted to. I don't want to. Where am I going to put them? I'm going to throw them over there and pretend they're not there. So yeah, if I see an old potato coming up, like that one, there's another one there, I can just dig them up. So easy enough to do. That's what's nice when it's at this stage. You can see what should and shouldn't be there. There's loads of stuff shouldn't be there at the back. I'm saying all this now because the novelty value for me is still riding high. I'm probably in a few weeks' time when I'm absolutely sick to death of watering it twice a day, especially without a hose pipe now, but that, another story I'll tell you at the end. Yeah, it might be a different story. But yeah, so this was the potato bed underneath. We've done nothing to it at all. Ooh, grass seeds. We've done nothing to it at all other than pour a whole load of that council compost on top, or rather not even on all of it, just on that side and on that side. Obviously we left the path bit clear. I mean, if we wanted to, and I know a lot of people do, they plant down the middle of the path as well, but we've got enough space. We don't need to, so I'd rather have it like this. And especially like last night, we were here till about 8 o'clock and we brought our tea up and actually had a glass of beer as well, which was nice, in the Polytunnel. That was the highlight of our week. So anyway, so if it looks like the soil here is representative of the soil across our plot, it's not. This is the... If you have a household recycling centre, or if you have somewhere that recycles garden waste near you, it's worth getting in touch with them. The compost that's produced isn't full of nutrients. It's not finely balanced like the stuff you'd have in bags. I mean, I can't guarantee what's been in this at all, really. Hopefully nothing nasty. But it does provide some sort of structure and it provides a mulch. And at the moment, that is providing something for me to dig into and plant into. So shut up, Jane, and show us what you're planting. Okay. What you might be amazed by at this point, if I can find it, yes. Sorry, plastic labels, needs must. I've run out of my little bamboo cutlery set. I am going to label the line before I plant my seeds, because you know what I'm like. And today I am going to be putting in spring onion guardsman. Now, talking about companion planting, as I have done in the past, this apparently, it says, yeah, you can plant it next to carrots, keep carrot root fly away, and very often, if you have got anything like carrots, anything that's got quite a strong scent that attracts insects, plant something like onion or garlic chives or chives near it, and that will help to mask the scent of the carrots and confuse the poor little carrot fly. It's not really going to provide that function in here, but this is just a perfect spot to I can't open the packet, perfect spot to plant it. So I'm going to do my 2 little labels, one at each end of the row. I'm just going to put spring onion, because if you don't label, you're not going to know what you've got. To be honest, all these tomatoes, I must have, well, in here there's 24, but I've got about 50 tomato plants in all. By the time I'd put a few of these in, I didn't know what was what, because some of the labels, the writing had worn off. Some of them I'd reused from the previous year, and you know, it was telling me that that was a cucumber, for example, because my writing had worn off and it was the writing from last year on. So yeah, they've all got mixed up, so I'm just going to have to see what colour the tomatoes are. They're not all going to be red. So yeah, every year I have a problem with labels, but I try and deal with it as best I can. Right, what is lovely about this, by the way, let me just tell you, I did not put these lettuce in. I left the gaps between the tomatoes to do my interplanting, if you like, and I turned my back for an afternoon and came back and Mike had put all the lettuce in, but never mind, it's fine, they'll come out, and as one of those comes out, we can put something else in, or sow something else. But we've actually got, and this is why it was important for me to have a line for the edge of the bed, we've got about a foot in front of the tomatoes in which we can actually, oh, you can see it hits hard ground there, in which to sow loads of seeds. So basically this is mainly going to be my salads. I did say I'm going to move that cucumber, I think, excuse me, down to the bottom greenhouse. But as far as lettuce, spicy leaves, rocket, coriander, definitely basil. I've got basil seedlings, coriander seedlings, and I think chervil as well, down in the bottom greenhouse. As soon as they're big enough, they're going to get transplanted up here. So this will be somewhere where your more tender vegetables, if you like, and quick growing veg are going to grow. Right, next thing to do, I'm going to make a little line. I know, it's a weed thingy, but it's going to help me make a little line. This is so dry, so dry. I don't even know if that's going to make a line, you know, but I do want to pre-wet the soil before I put anything in it. She says with a great big watering can, so this is where I could do with a nice dainty nozzle on the end, but I haven't got one. So, okay, give that a nice soak. Okay, oh, there we go. Look, that's taken ages to go in as well. Really is very dry. While I'm doing that, I'm going to try and get to the packet. So yeah, I will have the quick growing things at the front, and I'm going to have more long growing things at the back. So for example, I'm probably not going to do this now. I've got my beetroot that will go along the back. I might even put some carrots in at the back as well, and they can be getting on with their own thing. Again, I've been watching Steve's allotment, and he's got some great advice about polytunnel growing, and he was saying he's noticed that the closer to the wall that you plant things, the hotter it gets. And so if you can grow things that really thrive in heat, I think that's what he was saying. Sorry, Steve, if it wasn't. You know, they do better towards the edge. But it just goes to show, you sort of think, oh, well, it'll all be one space, it'll all be one temperature, but it will vary within the tunnel itself. Okay, that's soaked in. Teeny tiny, I love spring onions. Teeny tiny little seeds, little black seeds. And I am just going to sprinkle them, because I am not going to be transplanting them. They will be sprinkled and they will stay where they have been sprinkled. So if they grow in a clump, they grow in a clump. What you do then is you just pull up the ones you want, and that'll leave space for the ones that you've left there. So hopefully these will be okay. Okay, I'm not going to sell the whole packet at once, because I will be, do that over there just in case there's any little escapees, because I am going to be successional sowing. You can see he wants a whole load of spring onions at once, not me. Okay, so when they start showing, I should have put a date on, shouldn't I? Cover those lightly. When they start showing above the soil, I'm trying to multitask, trying to talk and do that, I will then right, start again, Jane. When they start showing above the soil, that will be time for me to plant another little row of spring onions. And you know what? I don't care where I do it, it's all going to be along the front. I'll just move along, so I can have a row of spring onion, a row of radish, a row of spicy mixed leaves, a row of basil, and I can just keep picking and changing as I go along. So tiny bit more water on that, and I'm going to shut up and go outside. Okay, now you've got the gist of what's going on inside. I thought I'd show you what we're up against outside. This here, you know, I said about having the council compost on top. This is what lies underneath. This is what those potatoes grew in, bless their little souls, last year. And if we go to a drier bit there, that is pretty tough to break up. I mean, it is just about doable. But it's such heavy soil. So to work with this soil, all I want to do in this square is to be able to turn this over very roughly to put in a few herbs. Now, the first thing I've got to be able to do, I've got to be able to sort of dig it. So what I've done already, I have poured some water over it, drenched it about half an hour ago, and the water is running, and you can see I don't know if you can see from there, that's the drier bit that I've just been trying. This is a slightly wetter bit, and it just allows me to get my fork in just enough to be able to turn the top bit like that, which is, oh crikey, that's joy. So I'm going to try and turn that over, and then I'm not going to turn over anything I don't need. Okay, I'm going to let sleeping soil lie if I'm not going to put anything there. But saying that, actually, you know, getting that water on it does the trick. Now you'll see here we've got the edge of the polytunnel that I haven't clipped off. Oh, just put my fork through it. I haven't clipped off. That will get either tucked in like that with the soil pulled over it, or dug in, probably tucked in knowing me, but plenty of grass seeds here. Look at that, you see, that is so solid again. But if I can just ruckle up that top little bit, I might have to pour some more water on it, because the idea is, let me show you this. I got, yes, paid money for, I'm coming down to see it, this old coal scuttle from Malvern last year. Can you see it? I don't know, I'm upside down in the camera thing, so I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if you can see it or not. An old coal scuttle anyway, all very interesting. Yes, and I paid money for a coal scuttle with a hole in the bottom. See, but that means, can you see that now? Can you see that now? You can see it now. But that means that I don't have to put holes in it, but I can plant into it. So into here, I want to dig it in a couple of inches. That's where my first little thing's going to be. And in there, because it's best off grown in a pot so it doesn't go mad, I'm going to put a couple of different sorts of mint. And then around it, I'm going to put some herbs that are good for pollinators and some flowers that are good for pollinators. So all this will be by the door of the polytunnel. Right, okay, I've done the best I can there. Let me just find my things. I have, let's turn you around. Hey, I have myself really warm. Yeah, it made a heck of a difference having the water on this, because where the water hadn't gone through completely was so hard, and I was literally breaking up things like this. You see that one there? Can you see that? Oh, it's doing it now. But if you were doing that for the whole garden, it would take a long time. So yeah, it's done okay. Now I need to know where I'm going to put my mint. Okie dokie. Oh, I wonder where that phrase comes from. I say it all the time, I've got no idea what it means, could be awful. Right, okay, here I've got my coal scuttle. It's making me laugh. I talked about prettying up the front of the shed, and it's an old rusty coal scuttle, but there we go. I've got two types of mint that have been in their pots for far too long. Let's see if you can see this one. This one is a beautiful basil mint. And I got this from a place called Hook's Green Herbs at their open day last year. I did a video about it at the time. But as you can see, can you see that? It's got cuckoo spit on. So that is something I need to deal with as soon as, because that is going to weaken the plant. However, I reckon just the very process of putting it in a bigger pot is going to help with that. But I will treat it afterwards, and I do want to get it in today. And the other one, which I think it might be my favourite mint smell, is pennyroyal. Oh look, that's got it. Oh darn it. Cuckoo spit. What do you do with cuckoo spit? Anyway, the smell of that, I mean, you can see it doesn't look very happy, does it? Oh, but the smell, it's spearmint intensified, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to put that is more of a, I'm saying it's more of a creeper, it actually looks a lot bigger than this one. This one will go upwards, and that's at the back, and this one hopefully will be more of a spread, it will go at the front. They're both mint. I'm not worried about what they do once they're in the pot. But what I've done, I don't know if you can see how wet this is now. I decided that the best way to check if the thing was level or not was to pour some water in and see if the water was level, which of course it wasn't. So I've then poured more water in until I got the soil level. So now the scuttle's level, but the soil, as you can see, is not very pleasant to work with. But never mind, I shall continue. Okay, let me tip this under. Yeah. Let's have a look. Right, if I wanted to propagate that, I mean, we know with mint, they are the easiest things to propagate. You would just pull a bit off, like that. I might do that actually, I might do that and give that to a neighbour. That would be nice, wouldn't it? There we go, and that's it. That's a new plant. That's several new plants if you want to do, but you could put that into a little pot straight away. And I think someone would be really thrilled. If you like basil, you will love basil mint. Fantastic. I'll put that there for now. Okay, now it's a nice bit. There we go. Looks a little bit sparse at the moment, but given a fair wind and some good luck, that'll fill in absolutely beautifully. Well, I think, oh, it's very windy now. If we pop around this little corner, we're going to find a familiar face. Hello there, Mike.
Hello. I'm wrapped up in string.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to sort out some guttering to run alongside this polytunnel.
Yeah.
And you showed me a video by somebody called Allotment Steve by the Seaside Allotment.
Steve Seaside Allotment.
Steve Seaside Allotment. And he'd come up with a very clever idea whereby you use guttering along the side of your polytunnel attached to stakes, and then use tape, double-sided tape, and repair tape and some polythene to run it into that guttering off the side of your, to run some plastic sheet off the side of your polytunnel into the guttering, and thus gather rainwater.
Hey!
So I'm trying to do that.
Well done.
I'm not very technical, am I?
Well, you are. You're very creative, mate. You're very artistic.
But not very technical. So I'm trying my best to keep it as tidy as I possibly can and do a good job with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be good.
I'm using a spirit level.
On a piece of bendy string.
Which is a big improvement for me, isn't it?
Well, good luck with that. Hopefully, by our May tour, Mike, next week, it should all be up and running.
Oh, it should.
Okay. So, that's the polytunnel, almost finished. I'm saying that, there's still loads to do. And what we've got to be careful of, or certainly what I've got to be careful of, is not neglect everything else that needs doing, like actually watering all the plants in the greenhouse, because I'm playing with flowers up there. That's the neighbour's dog, by the way. That's howling away, not Mike. But yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this bit. It's a new toy, isn't it? It's a new toy. Even as adults, when you get something new, it can be really exciting. So yeah, dead pleased with that. I'm hoping that those flowers and things that I put in before are not going to get whacked by cold nights. I think we've seen the last of the frost now. We've certainly had temperatures well below freezing in many parts of the UK over the last week, and I know a lot of people lost quite a few things. Tony Stevens lost 120 tomato plants. 120 plants. Oh dear, I felt so sorry for him. And there's nothing you can do really other than learn from it, although I don't know what you learn from it, and keep going, keep trying, sow some more. But what I've got, we had our new potatoes covered up with like black membrane, but even the frost even sort of got under that. It wasn't fleece, it was the wrong stuff to put over them, but I thought that would just protect them a little bit. And the tops of the potatoes got nipped, but they are coming back, they're okay. The dahlias, same, the leaves that were showing, they've got nipped a bit, but they'll come back. But the other thing, our strawberries had so many flowers on. And if you have a look at this thing, when they get frosted, they get this thing called black eye, like that, look. You see? Now there's two trains of thought as to what to do when your strawberry's doing that. You can either pick them all off, because the message that's being sent then now is that flower is dead as a doornail. So the plant thinks, well, I'm not going to bother continuing with that, so it's not going to produce any fruit. So you can either deadhead as you would do with any sort of dead flowers, and encourage another flush of blooming, or you can leave them on and just the plant will